This is a great question. And here's the secret that's not such a secret. I'm not positive all the time. In fact, I gotta tell you, it would be extremely toxic to feel that you needed to be positive all the time, because what you would be doing is ignoring or suppressing or squashing the authentic emotional response you might be having to whatever outside experience is happening at that moment in time. And when you do that, when you squash your emotions, when you ignore them, when you bring no awareness to them, when you deny them, they shove deep inside yourself and they come out one way or another. They either come out in behavior problems, they come out in issues such as addiction or other things that you're doing to distract yourself, or, as I'm very well versed in, they come out as pain and disease in your body. Every time. There's no absolutely denying an emotion and making it just go away or evaporate. When you walk around acting like you're positive all the time when you're not actually feeling that way, it's truly toxic to your mind, your body, your spirit, to everything about you. At the end of the day, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And that unique thing that we get to experience is being human. And what's more human than our emotions? Sadness and anger and jealousy and happiness and everything else that you could possibly experience as a human being. That's part of why your spirit is in your body right now. And those emotions are important to acknowledge. One of the things I always say is when awareness is brought to an emotion, power is brought to your life. And the reason I say that is just what I said in the beginning. When you ignore the emotions that you're feeling, you are going to end up with long-term problems somewhere down the road. You may be able to shove them to the side for a while. Maybe you'll feel slightly better for a bit of time. However, they will always come out. When instead you bring awareness to how you're feeling in any given moment in time, and you say, okay, I'm feeling anger right now. I mean, there's plenty of things in the world right now to be angry about. And we can't deny the fact that we are feeling angry. What's important is that, for instance, if it's anger, you sit down and say, okay, what am I angry about? Why am I angry? Is this legitimate? Is it legitimate, that I am angry right now? And probably it is. And so while we think of anger as a negative emotion or as a scary emotion, and it certainly can be when expressed in a negative way, the truth is that no emotion is good or bad. It's just how we express it that's good or bad, which means we get to pause, bring awareness to the emotion, and choose how to express that emotion. So let me give you an example. Anger can be something that propels you forward in a really positive way in your life. So let's say, you're a person who's in a really negative job experience or a negative relationship, and you've been putting up with it for a really long time. Finally getting angry to the point that you are really feeling it and bringing your awareness to that anger can be the thing that finally propels you to leave that bad job or to leave that bad relationship and move on into a more positive thing. So we can't just deny something like anger. Our emotions are oftentimes telling us something really important about what's going on in our outside experience, and that information, when used in a positive way, can allow us to find the best steps forward for ourselves. So let's say you're feeling great sadness over something in your life. There's nothing wrong with that. Make sure that you take time to express the sadness. You can even choose things like taking a moment and creating some sort of ritual. If you're sad about something you've lost in your life, don't tell yourself that it's silly, it's ridiculous that I'm sad. It's not silly, it's not ridiculous. If you're feeling sadness, you're feeling sadness, and that's that. And acknowledge it, accept it, allow the sadness. Just don't allow yourself to stay stuck in the sadness. And that's truly how I end up bringing myself back to positive. There are times in my life when absolutely something becomes very, very overwhelming for me. And I can give you a great example. My husband had just had a really serious leg injury, a massive, really big surgery. And he was recovering at the point that he couldn't actually even go up and downstairs at that point. When we found out the place that we were renting, where we were living, was they decided they were going to sell, and we had to be out within 2 months. My husband was still going to be recovering. We had a 3-year-old, 2.5, 3-year-old at that point. And I said to myself, okay, I'm going to sit downstairs. And I did. I sat downstairs and I was like, I'm going to allow myself to exactly one night of panic. I'm going to just panic. I'm going to freak out. I'm going to let myself freak out. I drank some wine and I just let myself feel the emotion of freaking out. And then I set a limit and I said, tomorrow morning, I'm going to trust that the right things are going to line up in the morning. And I'm just going to let this panic wash over me. I'm going to panic completely. I'm going to get it out of my system. And tomorrow morning, I'm going to get up and I'm going to trust that the right things are going to happen. I kid you not, the next morning, we found our exact dream house that we could build, which I never thought in a million years we'd be building a house. We were led to it through a whole bunch of crazy coincidences. And we found the place that we could rent for the time being. And it ended up that the person that was our realtor that helped us with building the house was our landlord, which gave us the ability to stay in the house the whole time, even though our build ran longer than it was supposed to. So I tell you that little story to tell you that it's okay. Let yourself feel the emotion. Set a time limit for yourself. So if it's sadness, maybe you say, okay, I'm going to let myself, if it's a smaller thing you're sad about, maybe, I'm going to let myself really feel sad for the next hour. If it's a big thing like losing somebody in your life, maybe you're going to need a longer period of time, a week, 2 weeks even, to really allow yourself to feel the sadness, express the sadness, let it out of your system in positive ways. And then you set that limit and you say, okay, I'm going to allow myself to fully express this, do whatever I need to do to express it. And as long as you're not hurting anybody else, then you're in good shape. Express it at will. And then you set that limit and you say, okay, now I'm going to trust that I can move on. I'm going to find a lesson from this situation. I can use this for something important in my life. And that's how you get back to positive. And yes, in other videos, I'll talk about how to get yourself into a happy state or to shift into a happy state really quickly. I use those techniques all the time for myself. But I just want to encourage you that all emotion, no emotion is good or bad. It's only how we choose to express it that's positive or negative. And so allow yourself to feel the emotions you're feeling. Don't stuff them in. Don't deny them. Allow them to rise to the surface. Allow them to come out. And then you can move forward in a more positive way.